Good morning. Welcome to Morning Call for Monday, the 14th of January 2019. I'm Fab. Hello from Hamburg, where it is snowing quite a lot, actually. For Hamburg, this might almost be a blizzard, although people in South Germany would laugh at me now because down there's a veritable snow hell. They're having lots of problems down there. But let's get into your tech news for today. So the first story I have, I was actually part of this. Last night, the biggest player event in Elite Dangerous history kicked off, Distant Worlds 2, an expedition that is about to last 8 months if you do the full round trip. This is almost 13,000 commanders, so Elite Dangerous players have signed up for this. They are going to go together on an expedition to Beagle Point, which is on the far side of the galaxy, which is basically, ever since the game started, this has been one of the hallmarks. It's one of the goals you are trying to reach when you're an explorer. Nicholas is saying I'm dapper because rocking the bow tie today. So this is named Beagle Point after a ship, the Beagle, which went there very early on in the game. It might have been even beta, I don't know, very, very early. And last night this kicked off. I was part of the European launch, which was the first of 3 launches. There was a European launch, an American launch, and a launch for Oceania, which just happened about half an hour ago. And these were thousands of ships jumping out of the same system, which was, I guess, a spectacular sight. The instance I was in, there weren't that many ships, although it looked quite cool. I saw about, I would say, 30 ships jump out. I was live streaming this. And the servers crashed immediately. I think one of the problems was that it was decided impromptu that everybody would jump into the same system. And this, unsurprisingly, pretty much destroyed the Elite Dangerous servers. Something that, we were all expecting, because there was an event, I think 2 years ago, this Salome event that Drew Vega put on. It wasn't as official as this. This has been promoted by Frontier pretty heavily, but there were about 3,000 people there, and that crashed the servers. It took the servers about, let's see, they have a video here of the jump. It took the servers about 2 hours to recover. From what I've read, the American launch went a lot smoother. Seemed to have fewer players in it, and also I think Frontier were a bit more prepared. They had all hands on deck, I guess, over the night to keep the servers going. We're all wondering if this will now happen every Sunday, because how this expedition works is they have waypoints for every week, and all the commanders. Here you have a nice view of all the ships jumping together. Yeah, it's about as many ships as were in my instance as well. This is a video from Dr. Kai, which is one of the he was one of the veterans of Distant Worlds 1, which happened I think 3 3 years ago maybe. And he's one of the organizers of Distance Worlds too. Anyway, so you have a week to get to the waypoint, and then everybody meets up there over the weekend, and then on Sunday, I guess everybody jumps out again. Maybe people will now disperse a bit and not all jump out at the same time. We'll see. If you play Elite Dangerous and the servers are now crashing for you every Sunday, you might know why. Speaking of games, we had some news that Steam now includes 30,000 games in all. This is without DLC. So if you don't like playing Elite Dangerous, there's 29,999 other games to choose from. I thought that's a pretty amazing statistic if you think about it. 30,000 games. I mean, a lot of those are crap. But yeah. So this is PC Gamer saying Steam Spy says that in 2018, so last year, 9,300 games were released on Steam. So that's almost a third. 6,700 in 2017. That's so about half of them are from the last 2 years. That's pretty amazing. And this isn't AAA, because AAA games, I mean, there are only that many studios and that number doesn't change that much. I mean, they always release their games every 3 years or whatever, every 2 years maybe, or if they are bigger, they maybe release a game a year. This is pretty much the indie game revolution that Steam, as people are calling it, the second indie game revolution that came up because of Steam, and people are able to now, in small teams with even one person or two or maybe 5 or 10, are able to produce games and earn their living through Steam on PC pretty much. And that's pretty amazing. I mean, this if you look at this 30,000 games, console gamers can only dream of numbers like this. Doesn't mean that they're all good, but there's a lot of gems in there. Also games that a lot of people don't know about. It's quite interesting to take a deep dive once in a while. It's always good to do that when a Steam sale is coming up. Then maybe you can shoot some of them for cheap. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty good way to test new games. In security news, Google has announced, Google's been doing DNS for quite a while. They have public DNS servers, and they have now announced that their servers now support DNS over TLS, which means you can have encrypted DNS queries to Google's DNS servers. This is pretty cool because with encrypted internet connections, DNS was always a weak point, because you can, big intelligence services can still spy on people and collect metadata. They might not see what is transmitted when people go to the websites, but they can see which websites they visit, which is the point of DNS. And so this encrypts it. It's transport security, but I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense for DNS. So that means only the DNS server you choose will know what sites you're visiting, which is pretty cool. Now, I don't know if you want to use Google servers though, because I mean, they are one of the big targets. Like if the US intelligence services like the NSA want to know what sites you're surfing, then I guess Google would be the one to get the data from. Although, it always depends on who you're worried about. If you're in Germany, you're worried about German law enforcement. I don't think it's easy for them to get data from Google. That would have to be a pretty high profile case. I don't think in any old hacker case like that Orbit hacker. I don't know if that even would be high profile enough for Google to go, yeah, we'll give you that data. But anyway, this is cool. This will enable more DNS over TLS. It's been proven that once a big company like Google does something like this, smaller companies get off their ass. So we'll have more DNS over TLS. And there are already, I have to point out, there are already quite a few services, smaller services, privacy-oriented services that do support DNS queries over TLS. Pretty cool though. Good news. In bad news, the security updates that Microsoft has released for Windows at the beginning of January as part of their normal patch day have are causing problems with Access 97 databases. Now you'd be thinking, Access 97, who the hell is using that? I mean, that doesn't impact me, but it does, because there are many Windows applications, especially application company use, like customer relation management software, lots of calendar software on Windows behind the scenes uses Access 97, because I think it's pretty much the standard way if you use Visual Studio 2010, which for a long time a lot of people are still using. If you use that, it'll provide a DLL that provides access to Access 97 databases for your app, and this is breaking a lot of applications. This is a thread on Microsoft's community answers site, with people complaining that their applications are breaking, and because of the security update. Yep, that is always the downside with Windows, with the backwards compatibility that Microsoft kind of guarantees, which has enabled Windows to become what it is, the most used operating system and used in enterprise to a huge degree. But it also means that it breaks things. Like they have to break things. They do new stuff, and then it breaks stuff, and people rely on this backward compatibility and then get into trouble. Well, let's get into space news. Elon Musk has announced our favorite madman, Elon Musk, or let's not call him madman, it's maybe a bit strong, unstable billionaire, a little bit unstable billionaire, Elon Musk has announced that his company SpaceX has developed a prototype for what they are calling the Starship, which is a new prototype rocket that Joe, I can't start again just because you're too late. I'm sorry. This show will be in podcast form and on YouTube in a bit, and then you can see the rest. I'm sorry for the sake of everybody else. Anyway, so this is like a test rocket they've built. They always build prototypes, of course, and I'm always proud of it. This looks very simplistic. Looks like something from a Buck Rogers cartoon, or like maybe the Jetsons. Very silver, very rocket shaped, and Starship is the thing they are. I think this is the thing they're planning to go to the moon with. So yeah, they're working on that. In other news, SpaceX, the company, has laid off 10% or will lay off 10% of its workforce. They have 6,000 employees, and they're saying they need to become leaner. And so, yes, they will lay off some people. Anyway, the CEO, a guy called, what's his name? Gwynne Shotwell. Oh, no, it's maybe, I guess that's a woman's name. I don't know. It's always so hard. Like in German, that would be easier to figure out, because you'd have a definitely, oh yes, a lady, an engineer. She's Gwynne Shotwell. Shotwell is a nice name also. It's like, it would be better if her last name was Moonshot, but I guess this is the closest. Well, she has said that the company is profitable and has had many years, quote, many years of profitability. And I guess they wanna keep it that way. And that's why they're laying off some people. Maybe things are not going as well, though. Who knows? Nobody knows. I guess, they are in a good market, because with NASA now being, I say that, it sounds like I have glee in my voice, but actually it's a very, very sad topic. NASA not being funded adequately, pretty much. They can't, I guess they're developing next generation spacecraft, but it's like they can't keep all this stuff up. So, it's a good market for commercial space flight, and I guess that's why Musk with SpaceX and Jeff Bezos with what's a Big Blue. It's a company where Bezos. What's this? God, I have to Google this now. I think it's called Blue Origin, right? With Blue Origin, Big Blue. That's IBM. Anyway, yeah. So I guess that's why they're all trying to be in that market, and I thought not not our accustomed funny story, but maybe I'll change this rule to just end with some good news, either funny or just good news. In Germany, skimming is rapidly on the decline. So the act of installing software or hardware, mostly on ATMs, to skim or copy your credit card data and then, perpetrate fraud with that is very much on the decline. I mean, it's been hard to do for criminals in Germany, especially for a while, because unlike the US, we switched from, or like most of Western Europe actually switched from the data on the using data on the mag stripe to chips and a PIN number, which makes skimming a lot harder because you need to capture the PIN number as well. Also, you can't get like the data out. Pretty much, it's just really hard to do. So basically, what criminals been doing in Germany is using normal skimming techniques. So one of the most sophisticated is something called insert skimmer, which is basically a little device that you put in the slot of the ATM. They're quite amazing. They're only a little bit thicker than a credit card. Got a picture here. So it's just like this. It has its own power supply. There's a little battery in there, and you put that in the slot, and then basically the card goes into that, and the machine can still read the card, but the skimmer would also read the magnet stripe data. And then the machine will mostly use the chip, and this will read the magnet stripe data. And what the criminals are then using, because they can't get money out in Western Europe by using the magnet stripe, they will just do that mostly in the east of Europe, like east of Poland, countries east of Poland. Now banks have, since they're not the chip and pin system isn't as much used over there, but I guess the problem they're having is that Western European, especially German banks, have been very wary of that. So if you travel to east of Europe and use your credit card, it might immediately get blocked, and you get a call from like a card company asking you if you are actually over there. So in the USA, in the US, this is still a valid way. Like there's still a lot of skimming, but over here it's on the decline. So what has been reported by the so there's this there's this organization which is all the banks cooperating, and they have an organization that's called Eurocard System something in Frankfurt. What they have been saying is that last year, so in 2018, the money lost in fraud was 1.44 million euros, which is actually, sounds like a lot of money, but which is actually a record low for this kind of thing. It was 1.9 in 2016, 2.2 in 2017. So it's going down, and I guess that's good news. So use your PIN number, which you would have to do in Western Germany, and we'll just hope that the US will. I mean, I've been in the US recently, and they use chip and pin quite a lot now as well. But like you only get like the skimming thing down if you don't use the magnet stripe at all. But as long as there's banks with ATMs which still give you money, the bad guys will just go there, and they'll figure out which bank it is and go there. Anyway, some bad news, some good news to start off the week. I hope you have a good Monday. You are fresh and energized with love or hatred for your job. You can channel both of it. And I hope you have a good day, and we'll reconvene tomorrow morning for some more tech news. Still snowing here. It's like sunny skies. It's actually quite looking quite well. It's too warm here. The snow is melting immediately. But I'm kind of happy because Hamburg can't deal with snow at all. It's almost as bad as in the UK. Have a nice week. Thanks for watching and or listening, and see you tomorrow. Goodbye.